UFC Baku goes down this Saturday afternoon. Not Saturday night, but Saturday afternoon. So you can't sleep in because this thing kicks off at noon Eastern Standard Time. And who does it feature? A banger, a light heavyweight banger between Jamahal Hill and Khalil Rountree, two guys that lost to Alex Pereira. All right, but we all know that Khalil Rountree looked decent in that fight and had Pereira against the ropes a few times. But by the fourth round, he kind of slowed down and got finished. Guys like Jamahal Hill and Yuri Prohaska didn't make it nearly as far. So how does this matchup play out when we know that Khalil Rountree looked better than Jamahal Hill against Alex Pereira? Does that even matter or does it not? Well, we're going to get into all those topics. We're going to provide you with other fight predictions and preview the whole entire card next.
Broadcasting live from an undisclosed location. This is the TCMMA podcast with your host, Chris Cross.
Whoa!
Dana White privilege.
Let's go, baby! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go, baby!
Dana White privilege. Privilege.
What up, what up? This your boy Chris Cross checking in. This is the TC MMA podcast, and it's going down this Saturday afternoon, UFC Baku in Azerbaijan, if I even said that right, across the other side of the world. That's why this fight or card kicks off at 12 Eastern Standard Time. That's noon, not midnight, but noon, with the prelims, and then the main card kicks off at 3 p.m. But all eyes are on the main event, which is kind of odd, really, right? Because you're looking at two Americans fighting on the other side of the country. So there's all types of other fighters up and down this card that the fans are going to know and going to be rooting for. And then all of a sudden you get to the light heavyweight and you got two Americans in Baku. And to me, for some reason, that's just very interesting because a lot of times when the UFC goes overseas in the main event, you got someone that's from that country or whatever. But this time, the fans get a treat, in my opinion, because you don't have to worry about really who wins or loses. You just want to see two big dudes go at it with the likelihood that someone's getting finished. And that fight between Jamahal Hill and Rountree Jr. is basically a toss-up. Rountree Jr. a slight favorite. That's because of what he did against Pereira. So stay tuned for that. Fiziev and Ignacio Bahamondes it's going down in the lightweight division, one of the best divisions in the UFC. That fight is almost even. We got that prediction for you. Curtis Blaydes is a big favorite over Rizvan Kuniev. We'll get into that. Musayev is coming into the UFC at 22-5, taking on Oralbai, who's 13-2. So it's Azerbaijan, so they're going to get a home crowd favorite in this one. I believe it's the debut. We'll reiterate that and break that down further in the prediction. Taking on Oralbai from Kyrgyzstan. Oralbai is the favorite over the hometown favorite, if you will. So we're going to get into those four predictions because those are the big ones. Also in the lightweight division, you got Sadikov taking on Nicholas Mata, Azerbaijan. Home crowd support will be with Sadikov. Nicholas Mata from Brazil. That's why I was jumbled up because I'm trying to get to the Brazil thing. That's always interesting to me, right? Don't invite Brazil to the party. It could be a problem. But will it be? Sadikov, a 5-1 favorite in that one. Featherweight division, Muhammad Naimov versus Bogdan Grab. Forget about it. That's a huge, huge fight. In the prelims, you got some good fights too, like Nardiev versus Jung Yong Park, a guy that's on a roll right now. He's got all types of momentum coming into this one. You also got Tagir Ulanbekov. I know you heard that name in the flyweight division, taking on Azat Maxim, who's 15-1, Russia versus Kazakhstan. So these are the fights that the crowd really wants to see. You got Abdullah Wahab from Egypt taking on Muhammad Usman, right? His brother just won this past week, right? So you're basically going to have Usman and Usman brothers in back-to-back UFC fights. Has that ever happened before? I don't know. Possibly. That's a heavyweight banger with Abdel Wahab as the favorite. So that's the card in detail. But we're going to jump back up to fight four right now, a lightweight banger, absolute banger. You got Musayev 22-5 versus Oralbai 13-2. And Musayev's kind of getting thrusted in there because he's a hometown guy fighting out of the regional circuits, if I'm not mistaken. So let's jump into this pick and preview right now. In the lightweight division at UFC Baku, you got Tofik Musayev taking on Miktabek Oralbai. Now, we've heard of Oralbai, but who is Musayev? Well, the guy is from Azerbaijan. He's fighting at home, right? He's 22-5. So he's going to have the home crowd support. Oralbai 13-2 from Kyrgyzstan. Now, both guys stand 5'10. Oralbai 27, entering that prime. Musayev older at 35, slowing down a bit, but he's still got something in the tank, right? It's not that old. Oralbai 2-inch reach advantage. He fights right-handed, and we know more about Oralbai. He lands about 3.4 significant strikes per minute and lands nearly 2 takedowns per round. So a little more on Musayev, who's actually from Baku. Okay, he's got 18 KOs and 22 wins. He's got 2 submissions, 2 decisions. So the guy is a KO specialist, but he's been KO'd once, submitted 3 times, and gave up 1 by decision. So he's, the tough part for him is he's going to give up submissions here and there. And we saw what Oralbai did to Uros Medic, for example, beat him by submission. Now, in the last couple fights, he's fought out of Risen, beat Koji Takeda, by KO, and Okada by KO. When he fought at Bellator, he went 1-1 over the past 3 years. Another fight in Risen against D'Souza, he got submitted. So listen, the guy's got the ability to finish you with KO, but he can be finished as well by submission. Oralbai lost to Matush Rebecki last time out by split decision, beat Elvis Brenner by decision, beat Uros Medic by submission. And the home crowd support is a big deal until you get taken down and you can't get off the mat, right? I mean, that's the bottom line. So I think that's the way it's headed for Oralbai. I look for a wild first round, but eventually Oralbai is going to settle down, land takedowns, and hopefully get the finish that way. I mean, Musayev has been finished by submission, so I look for Oralbai to do it that way and get the submission to move to 14-2, in my opinion. Lightweight division, UFC Baku. So although this is a big opportunity for Musayev, Oralbai is just that much better, right? That's why I believe he's going to win this thing and go to 14-2. Of course, he's the favorite here, so we're not going against the grain or anything like that, right? But the takedown game is just too strong. But what you can expect on the other side of the world is 2 guys to at least be decent on the ground. But Oralbai is just more exceptional than that. I mean, he's solid on the ground. As we move into fight number 3, things are going to heat up here. You got a big heavyweight division showdown between one of the best in the division, and that's Curtis Blaydes. The guy's 18-5. And most of those 5 losses are against, big time opponents. No weakness. No slouches in there. That's why he's almost 3-1 favorite here. But he's taking on Kuniev, the big Russian guy that's 12-2 on his way up. But those 2 losses stick out to me. So we'll see which way I go. You never know. I mean, Russians are proving themselves, especially in the light heavyweight and heavyweight divisions. They got some big dudes. Let's get into this one right now. In the heavyweight division at UFC Baku, you got Curtis Blaydes taking on Rizvan Kuniev, and this is going to be a high-level matchup between 2, very strong heavyweights. Blaydes 18-5, Kuniev 12-2. It's USA versus Russia. Both guys stand 6'4". Blaydes 34 years old, Kuniev 33. Blaydes 4-inch reach advantage. Both guys stand right-handed. Kuniev is very active on the feet, nearly 6 significant strikes per minute to about 3.5 per minute for Blaydes. But Blaydes can land takedowns, nearly 2 takedowns per round. On average, Kuniev also gets 1 takedown per round. Now, Blaydes 31% takedown defense. That's terrible. Kuniev hasn't given a takedown up yet in the UFC. Now, Blaydes lost to Tom Aspinall by first round KO. He did beat Gelton Almeida despite giving up 9 takedowns, finishing with those elbows by second round KO. That was a big win at the time. Lost to Sergey Pavlovich by first round KO. He did have the win over Tom Aspinall, but we all know how that went down. Wasn't really a win. Chris Dawkins, he beat him by KO, beat Jair Zeno Rosenstrike by decision. So the guy's still at the top of his game. Make no mistake about it. Kuniev beat Hugo Kuna at the Contender Series by first round KO. Beat Edivan Santos by third round KO. So he's won back-to-back fights at the Contender Series. But he's making his UFC debut against Curtis Blaydes. And this is really a tough one to predict because we really don't know how good Kuniev is yet. Okay, he won a couple Contender Series fights, but you're talking about Curtis Blaydes, right? I'm not going against Curtis Blaydes until I see more from Kuniev. I got to rock with Curtis Blaydes. I don't know if he'll get the KO finish, but he's definitely going to outpace Kuniev. And if he can't do it on the feet, he'll land takedowns. Unless Kuniev can defend all takedowns, he's going to lose his fight, in my opinion. It's just this is a levels fight, and Curtis Blaydes is going to feel disrespected for sure. So I like Curtis Blaydes to win this fight by decision to move to 19-5. That's my opinion. Heavyweight division, UFC Baku. Yeah, so not really a surprise there, right? I mean, you see Curtis Blaydes, the guy's ranked still relatively high, right? He's got uh, that big win against a Brazilian where he was taken down 9 times and boom, 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 a couple elbows, and all of a sudden the takedown game didn't matter anymore. And when you do that to a Brazilian, that wakes me up. Curtis Blaydes still has it, man. Yeah, he's taken a punch against Eric Lewis. He's fallen against some other guys. He had a rough time with Tom Aspinall, all that. But I think he holds serve here. I mean, I just don't see Kuniev as being that good yet. But we've been surprised before, and that's what this would be. This will be a legitimate surprise. As we jump into the co-main event, we go back down to the lightweight division, which is fine because that's like the best division in the UFC. I mean, especially when you got Rafael Fiziev taking on Ignacio Bahamondes. Fiziev struggling a little bit, not a lot, right? The guy's 12-4, but he's from Azerbaijan. He's the home crowd favorite and the underdog against the Chilean Bahamondes, 17-5. This is going to be a lightweight showdown. That's why this is the co-main event, and the crowd is going to be jacked for this one. Let's dive right into this one right now. In the lightweight division at UFC Baku, your co-main event, one of the best divisions in the UFC, right? Lightweight division. You got Rafael Fiziev taking on Ignacio Bahamondes, a very capable guy that's 17-5. Fiziev, 12-4. Fiziev from Azerbaijan, Bahamondes from Chile. And you know how Chile loves their fighters. Bahamondes, 7 inches taller at 6'3". That's going to be interesting. He's 27. Fiziev, 32. Bahamondes, 4-inch reach advantage. He fights right-handed. Fiziev is a switch stance fighter. Bahamondes, 7.1 significant strikes per minute, kind of like Jamahal Hill in the main event. Fiziev, 4.9. So a little bit difference in pace there. Not much to speak of on takedowns. Fiziev has struggled lately, right? Losing to Justin Gaethje by majority decision. Mateusz Gamrot, second round KO. Justin Gaethje again, this time by unanimous decision. So he hasn't won since 2022 when he beat RDA. So a lot of questions there. He's got to fight down just a little bit. But Bahamondes sub Jalen Turner in the last fight. That was incredible. Beat Manuel Torres by first round KO and Christos Giagos first round KO. So this is one of those levels fights, right? Fiziev has struggled against the top. Now he's coming down a little bit. Bahamondes is on his way up. So how's this going to play out? I just think Bahamondes is on a roll right now. I think this guy's fighting at an elite level. I really, really like Fiziev, but I'm going to lean towards Bahamondes here, even though it's pretty much even in this one, just because it's going to be a stand-up striking affair, and it's 7.1 to 4.9. So either Fiziev KOs him or Bahamondes outlasts him over 3 rounds. And to me, that's more likely. So I like Bahamondes to win by decision. That's my opinion. Lightweight division, UFC Baku. And there's a lot of fights you feel like that. Like if it goes to a decision, this guy's going to win. If it's a finish, that guy's going to win. A lot of people would say this about Hamza Chimaev and Dricus du Plessis, right? If it's a finish, Hamza is going to win it. If it's a decision, you might guess that du Plessis is going to win, right? So you have a lot of fights that are like that. And sometimes I get the feeling that a guy's going to get the finish, but not in this one. I don't think Fiziev is going to be able to put away Bahamondes, although the crowd would love that. So we got no choice but to believe this thing's going to a decision, and Bahamondes is going to pull it out. Now, in the light heavyweight division, as we said in the intro, and throughout this card leading up to this fight, this is a huge, huge fight. Two guys highly ranked in the division trying to return to glory, trying to get up to the top spot, right? Jamahal Hill was once the light heavyweight champ, had to relinquish the belt when he got injured. Khalil Rountree fought Alex Pereira for the belt. Looked good in that fight, couldn't get it done, but both guys are right there, or either there or right there, knocking on the door. So this is a big time fight. The loser of this fight is going to get knocked back down, and that's definitely a problem, right? If you lose this fight. So big fight here. Let's jump right in. In the light heavyweight division, your main event at UFC Baku. You got Jamahal Hill taking on Khalil Rountree Jr. And this is a high-level matchup, and Rountree is the favorite. We'll explain why as we go forward. Hill 12-3, Rountree 14-6, USA versus USA. Hill 3 inches taller is 6'4", he's 34, Rountree 35. Hill 2-inch reach advantage 79-77. Both guys fight left-handed. Hill 7.1 significant strikes per minute, ridiculous. 3.7 for Rountree, so Hill's more active. No takedown game really to speak of for either guy. So takedown defense doesn't really matter in this one. Jamahal Hill lost to Yuri Prochazka last time out by third round KO. Alex Pereira, first round KO. He beat Glover Teixeira back in 2023, Thiago Santos, and a bunch of others. So it's been, man, over 2 years since he's had a win. That's interesting. Now, Rountree is coming off the loss to Alex Pereira, but he fought really well. Went to the fourth round, lost by KO. It was 127-61 in significant strikes at that time. Before that, he beat Anthony Smith, Chris Daukaus, Dustin Jacoby, split decision, and Carl Roberson. So here's the thing: is Jamahal Hill is proven. The guy is still 12-3, 34 years old, still in the prime. Khalil Rountree Jr. showed his strength and ability to fight when he did against Alex Pereira, right? I mean, he went 4 rounds and people thought it was phenomenal. But eventually, he got beat. So you're really going off of that fight when you look at this one. I like Rountree Jr., and he probably could win the fight. That's why he's the favorite, but I've just got to go with Jamahal Hill. I mean, the activity is too much for me. If it's Pereira, yeah, it's different. Yuri finished him too. But Jamahal Hill is several fights now off the injury. I think you're going to see a different fighter here. Rountree Jr., we haven't seen him in some time since the fight against Pereira, but people wondered if he could recover from that. I'm sure he has, but it's still there. I just like Jamahal Hill to get the win here. I think it's just going to come down to heart, and Jamahal Hill has more of that, at least right now. He wins. I don't know if it's going to be a finish, though. Probably will. I mean, he's a too heavy striker, so I'll lean towards Hill by TKO. Not KO, but TKO to move to 13-3. Light heavyweight division. UFC Baku. Yeah, so we got Jamahal Hill, but by that close, right? I think he gets the finish. I don't think it's not that Khalil Rountree isn't fully recovered from the Pereira fight, but he's not fully recovered mentally. And it's always tough to come back after a KO loss, especially one that was like that. I mean, this was a kind of beat you into submission situation. This wasn't like a KO out of nowhere. This is like over 5, 10, 15 minutes of fighting that Rountree just slowly wore down, and Pereira just poured it on, because Rountree is not a guy that just gives up easily. That's why it's going to be tough for Jamahal Hill to put him away. But I think Jamahal Hill needs a spark. He needs to show why he's still one of the best in the division. And now that you got a different champ, this might be a different opportunity. Styles make fights, so the styles are different between Ankalaev and Pereira. So if Jamahal Hill gets to win here, anything is possible. So that's how we see this thing going down. We'll be here at noon Eastern Standard Time on Saturday. Make sure you join us. For now, this is your boy Chris Cross. Have a great day and God bless. As always, peace.